gone and he was leaving to find out who was hiding behind the tree. To get to the outside door, I need to pull down one corner of the sheet that Obi put up and take some of the tape off the swinging doors so that I can open one. I feel guilty as I pull apart Obi's protection for us, and I try to put it back up behind me. The worst thing I could do is let spores into the tower. It wouldn't matter if I rescued someone, if I managed to kill everyone else while I did it. I only realised how scared I am when my hands don't seem to be obeying me properly. They seem too big suddenly and numb, as though I'm cut off from them. I swallow and concentrate hard on unpeeling the first of the thick silver lines of tape. I have to tug it hard to pull it off, and it makes a ripping sound as it comes off that pierces through me and then settles in a heavy feeling of sickness in my stomach. I don't know if I'm doing the right thing or not. I'm not Obi. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just a kid from 17. But I guess there is one way in which I am like Obi. When I told him about the lights in the tower, he said that we must try to rescue the people, and that is what I'm doing. I'm trying to rescue the person I saw. It's the only thing I can do. The floor through the swing doors is covered in thick carpet of grit salt. My feet sink into it so that it reminds me of walking through icy snow, but it looks browny orange instead of white. Funny how you notice things like that, as though your brain is trying to fool you into forgetting what you're about to do, to lure you into a sense of safety and dismiss the fear that is pulsing through your veins and filling every corner of your mind. There's more tape on the outside door, and most of that comes off too. It makes one final screech, a deafening sound that seems to echo down the corridor, but finally I've done it, and I pull down the handle and push. How can I describe what outside looks like when it is so different from anything I have ever seen? When I open the door and feel the first rush of air on my face, it feels so cold and startling that it makes me want to step back into the safety of the tower. But after the shock of it, it feels fresh and cool and wonderful. I'd forgotten about that. There is a crunching sound as I tread on the salt surrounding the bottom of the tower. It's scattered all about me. I can hear my breath going in and out, in and out. It sounds loud because of the mask I'm wearing. It makes me feel worried how easily one of those little tiny spores might just slip under my mask so I would breathe it in. I must be surrounded by the spores that are floating and swirling all around me, but I can't see them at all. It just looks like empty air to me. Then I come to the bluchers. In some places they have grown higher than my knees, but in others they've grown much, much taller and they tower above me. Close up, they look beautiful and weird as well, as if they are filled with some kind of liquid that is always moving, swirling round, making circular patterns that are never still. You can see the inside of them because they have a sort of clear skin which you can see right through. The liquid reminds me of when you see a little puddle of petrol on the road and it has swirls of colours on it, or when you blow a bubble and it doesn't pop straight away and there's a tiny moment when it's full of moving colours, pink and green and yellow. Except it doesn't look like any of those things, not really. It looks nothing like anything else I've ever seen before. Not like a plant, not like a tree. When they are fully grown, their stems are as thick as the ropes we used to hang from on the apparatus in our school hall. The rope would feel bulky on our hands when we used to climb up it, and most of us would make it to the very top. I don't think you'd be able to climb up a blucher though. They look so smooth and shiny that you might slip right down one if you tried. I have the urge to reach out to touch one of them. They look like they would feel wet and a bit slimy, a bit like jelly, or like when you used to let snails slide across our fingers if we found one in the playground. At the top of the stem is a large, rounded shape that comes up to a little tip. Depending on how tall they are, some of these heads are as small as my finger, but when the stem is really high, they are much, much bigger than my head. The large ones are swollen and bloated like blown up balloons and look like they're ready to pop if you poke them sharply, so I tread carefully, anxious that I might burst one if I hurry past. Among the bluchers, all kinds of things are growing. There are tall, stalky plants that have large, long leaves and green, bushy shrubs that have little blue flowers on top. Grasses have grown so much that they stand tall and thick, quite unlike the patchy lawns that I knew from before. These blades of grass look silky and dense, as if they would be difficult to walk through. I can't understand how everything has sprouted over the buildings that once stood there. There isn't a trace of the homes and shops and roads, not one trace. And when I look down to the ground, I can see that my path is covered in little tiny yellow-green leaves that coat the earth like a carpet. I dig the heel of my shoe into one to lift some away, and I can see the soil beneath looks almost black now. It isn't brown, sandy stuff which would fly from our trowels like dust. It is much, much darker and looks moist and crumbly, like the rich chocolate cake we ate for Guy's birthday, only darker still. I stand among the bluchers, so shocked by everything I see that I almost forget the reason I'm outside in the first place. The movement in the bushes. The person who is lying there, waiting to be saved, needing to get to the tower. I look around at the trees to try and work out which direction I need to go. It all looks so different from what I could see from the window. I can't figure out which bit of green I saw move at first. It takes me a while, and I have to circle the tower a couple of times before I recognise a craggy branch of a tree, which looks a little bit like someone's arm bent right over, which is close by to where the person was hiding. I was not that far away now, and I think I see another rustle in the undergrowth. I freeze, but once again I have the eerie feeling that I might have seen something, or I might not have seen something at all. And now that the moment has passed, I have no way of telling. My voice is muffled through the mask. I call out, "Is anyone there?" But my voice can't pierce through the plastic of the mask and all the scarves I am wearing. It is trapped beneath the layers. I can't take anything off, so I creep towards the bushes and keep my eyes fixed on the spot I think just moved. It's difficult to walk through the bluchers, as well as all the bristly wild leaves and grasses that are in my way. I have to move slowly, and it takes a long time. I have just reached the place when I hear someone call out my name from far away. It is a voice I know well, Obi's voice. I look up to the tower and can see just two little tiny specks on the roof of the block, Obi and Ben. They have seen me. I can't make out their faces, but I can hear what they are shouting down to me. They keep saying the same thing over and over, louder and louder each time. Get back inside. Get back inside. It's funny when time slows down or speeds up again. I've heard people talk about time like that. They say, this week is going slowly, or today's rushed by. I hadn't really taken any notice of that before. Sometimes night felt like a long time because I would wake up and think it must be morning and time to get up and have breakfast, and then realise that it's still dark outside in the middle of the night. But I'd never really known time to seem like that it stopped. Not until now, when I'm standing outside the tower with Obi and Ben calling down to me, wearing my air mask in front of the leafy green bushes, with all the bluchers around me. All of a sudden, Obi and Ben's voices sound very far away. They get quieter in my head. I notice that to one side of me is a tall blucher which is growing next to a patch of the bushes. And then I can't tell what happens first. It all happens so quickly, or so slowly, depending on which way you look at it. One moment I'm thinking about whether I should try calling back to Ben and Obi that I am all right. And the next, there is just that tiny little sliver of time before something big happens. It's like the world has just taken a breath. Do I know it at the time? Maybe I don't. Maybe I only remember what that moment of stillness before what happens next. I turn back to look in front of me, and there is a movement in the bushes, and what seems like exactly the same time, the top of the blucher right next to me explodes. Pop. Just like that. This is the moment that time stops. The little piece of time as I realise that it has burst, and the liquid that is now in it is now spraying out of it, right towards me. The droplets look like they're frozen, like long, thin teardrops hanging in the air, a fountain that I'm standing right underneath. And then time restarts again, and I feel the wetness of the liquid seeping through my clothes, drenching the scarves that are wrapped around my face. I can't move. I don't know if I'm able to at first. I stand there as still as I can, and I can feel the liquid running down my back now, and the coolness upon my cheeks. I know I am covered, and that this is something that can hurt humans, that there is no chance for me now. But still, I am waiting for the pain to start, waiting for me to begin dying. My skin feels a little itchy and sticky, but I can't decide if I'm hurting or not. I start thinking that my skin feels like it's warming up. I worry that it will get hotter and hotter, and that soon I will feel like I'm on fire. But it doesn't warm up like that. I just stand there, paralysed, waiting for something to happen. My goggles are coated with the stuff. Everything starts to feel looking a little bit blurry through the lenses, although I can still see through them. What's really strange, though, is that I can see the colours of the bluches through the goggles, and that changes how everything looks. It is like I'm looking through a funny magnifying glass, which makes everything look hazy and changes their colours. The bush in front of me is no longer green. It seems like it's a pale blue now. The little blue flowers are pink, and I can see out of the corner of my eye that the tower now looks almost completely black. It's like a huge, dark shadow looming over me. I stand there for a long time before I realise that I'm all right. I'm not hurt. I can hear Ben still calling to me to get inside. The shouts haven't stopped the whole time. It's just that I've been able to block out the sound in my head. I know that I need to go back now, but I've come outside to help somebody and I haven't even found them yet. The bush that moved when the blucher burst is directly in front of me. I slowly walk around it and kneel down as best as I can with the rucksack on my back to look underneath it. There is nothing there. There are little marks in the dark black soil that show where something has been, but whatever it is or whoever they are, they've gone. I look down the only path that it could have taken. It's surrounded by swollen bluches and thick undergrowth. Trees are growing here, but they are so much taller than I remember and they block out the sunlight. I suddenly get the eerie feeling that if I go down the path, I won't return. As I stand in front of the track and decide that I have to go back, I start to feel a little bit silly. I rush down to the tower to rescue someone, but there's no one there. And I could have died when the blucher juice covered me, and I risk coming out with the spores all over me, and I might have even infected the block with them. All for something I thought I'd seen. I turn back to the tower, feeling my shoulders slump. I can hear Ben's voice die down as I turn round and start walking back to the tower. I wonder if Obi will be cross with me for going outside. Will he understand why I did it? And then I hear a different noise. It's coming from down the path. Pop, pop, pop. It's the sound that the bluchers make when they explode. And something else as well. A little mewing noise calling out. I turn back and I can see the bluchers are bursting one after another in a line, right along the path coming towards me. Something is setting me off. And then I see it. It is running away from the sound as fast as it can. A small, thin cat. It leaps into my arms as soon as it reaches me and it starts purring. It's like it knows I have come to get it. I turn back to the tower, but as I do so, I feel something stopping me. I look down. It's on my leg. A thin, silvery arm of a blucher wrapped around my ankle, and it's beginning to tighten its grip.